can we really trust? All right, that's the question for number 123 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. And if you'd like to get that full listing of all 144, just kind of an abstract few sentences on each one, just put your name and email in the comment section, and I will send that out to you for free. Also, a 10-minute video by me, Tree of Life, an introduction, that's over on YouTube. That'll get you up to speed to the point where you can watch these videos. Again, it's just 10 minutes. If you'd like to do a deeper dive, you can send me $10 on my Venmo or Cash App, and you can get my book called the MASSTree, which is also an introduction to the Tree of Life, but a much deeper introduction. It's just 65 pages, so it's not like you won't learn absolutely everything about the tree, but it'll give you a pretty thorough introduction to Tree of Life, and at least Tree of Life the way I do it. And all right, so today we're looking at number 123. If you look at the tree again, the tree is basically a map of our consciousness, and it's like any map. It's a projection where it's a three-dimensional thing projected onto a two-dimensional surface, and each one of the circles or spheres here on the tree is an aspect of our consciousness, or a capability, or a potential, or a faculty of our consciousness. And there are 12 of them, number 10 through 0, and then also the abyss right here. So a total of 12, and each one of these 12 is a different aspect of our consciousness. Today, we are centered here in the first sphere. So what is the first sphere all about? The first sphere is our faculty of omnipresence. Okay, omnipresence, all, everywhere, at once, eternally. You could think of it as really like an ether. It subsists. It's underneath the surface of everything. Okay, everywhere you go, this is there, but it's not on the surface, so you can't see it being everywhere all at once, but it's there. You have to kind of dig or go into the surface in order to discover that it's there, but just know that it is there. So you can think of it as the whole universe, the all. And you can also think of it as the underlying geometry of the universe. You know how all of our elements of the periodic table and so on, they all have, they all bond together with geometrical shapes, in geometrical shapes. And so this underlying geometry is another way of representing this first sphere, the all. The first sphere is one of our three divine faculties, 1, 2, and 3. 3 being omnipotence, all powerful. 2, omniscience, all knowing or wisdom. And then 1, omnipresent, all present, all at once, eternally. And so that's what we're dealing with here with this first sphere. It's the higher self. You can think of it as the higher self within, what is at our deepest center. So in order to really uncover that, we have to get extremely quiet, extremely calm, and be able to sink in. Really, you think of it as the waves of the mind. We have to calm down the waves of the mind, just like a body of water. If the body of water is completely calm, then it becomes transparent and we can see through it. Now, if our sea of consciousness becomes completely calm, then we can see through it all the way to the center, or the bottom to the center, where our higher self resides. Okay, so that's kind of the first sphere aspect to it. Now, that's one of our 12 aspects of consciousness. But here we're talking about 144 different fractal faculties of consciousness, or fractional faculties, or mini faculties. And so how we get from 12 to 144 is we take it to the second power. 12 times 12 is 144. So what we're doing here graphically is we're taking all 12 of the faculties of the tree and shrinking it down to just the size of each one of the faculties and applying it to each one of the faculties. So we put a mini tree here on the 10th sphere, and a mini tree here on the 9th sphere, and a mini tree here on the 8th sphere, and so on. So we divide up the 10th sphere into 12. We divide up the 9th sphere into 12, and so on. And when we add all the 12s up, we get 144 fractal faculties. So what we're seeing here in this case on the first sphere is that within the first sphere, there's a mini 10th sphere, and a mini 9th sphere, a mini 8th sphere, a mini 7th sphere, and so on. All of the tree is represented within the first sphere. And this process could go on ad infinitum. You could then take the mini 10th sphere inside the first sphere and divide that up into 12. And you could divide that up into 12, and so on. So you can get into as much detail as you'd like, but for the purposes here, just one level of additional detail is all we're shooting for. If we wanted to turn it into a big computer model, we could probably go a lot deeper. But so now the question is, so for number 123 today that we're doing, what fractal are we talking about here within the first sphere? And number 123 corresponds to the 8th fractal within the first sphere. So what was the 8th sphere about? The 8th sphere is our logical thinking. The 8th sphere has to do with our belief systems, and also with the status quo, or the status. Has to do with basically taking things and putting them into different categories or different boxes depending upon their surface characteristics. So not their deeper functional characteristics, but their surface, what you can see, their surface characteristics, classifying things by separating them out into categories. The 8th sphere also corresponds to the trickster. It corresponds to the powers that be. This is where the powers that be reside, the institutions, and the expert opinion, the experts, the guys that wear the lab coats, the guys that have all the letters after their name, the ones that you're supposed to listen to because you're not really smart enough to figure it out yourself. And so you're supposed to, this is what you start being exposed to once you move out into the public world. This is the public sphere, where this is the domestic sphere, this is the household. This is what you get when you're first growing up. But then once you start going to school, and once you start going to church, and so on, then you get you get into this 8th sphere. You get exposed to the 8th sphere, which is the powers that be, the expert opinion, I won't say common sense, but just the consensus. What everybody knows that kind of an approach. But also the 8th sphere is a trickster. So when the 8th sphere is telling you what you're supposed to believe, it's not necessarily true. It's just it's true on the surface, but it may not hold up for any type of extended analysis. A lot of times with the A-sphere, once it's given a level of scrutiny, it falls apart like a house of cards. So the A-sphere is really a lot of the source of many of our problems in life, because we rely upon this kind of superficial thinking to carry the day, without really questioning whether that's a legitimate source or not, or whether it's a better source than our own experience. And it gets us into this kind of problem where we actually learn, it's like an emperor wears no clothes problem, where we actually reject our own experience in favor of the dictates of the powers that be. Even though we can see clearly that the emperor is wearing no clothes, we pretend like the emperor is wearing clothes because that's what everybody else is telling us. And we don't want to rock the boat too much. So that's another problem with the eighth sphere. So when we put the eighth sphere up here into the first sphere, what does that combination look like? And that is number 123. And it's called absolute certainty. Stage number 123 is about a geometrical or mathematical certainty. It always works, it's always right, regardless of the illusory world. Certainly, the progression of the natural reference system, where each point is at the center of its own universe. It's always there, everywhere, every when. Absolute certainty. Geometry and arithmetic are the only perfect sciences and the only infallible ways of knowing. The deities are geometrical figures, and they are composed of arithmetical concepts. These are the only perfections, and so not only do they best represent divinity, but they actually are divinity. Absolute certainty is limited by mathematical certainty. It is static in time. We can never be absolutely sure that the laws will not change in the future or at a distant location. So with everything but math and geometry, there will always be a negligible amount of mystery in a universe of motion. Universe is not a system. Universe is not a shape. Universe is a scenario. But we are inside that universe, in the process of that scenario occurring, within which we discover episodes. Systems are mini universes, microcosms. Systems spin, they orbit, they contract and expand, they torque, they turn inside out, and they interprocess their parts. Geometry is the first articulation of all phenomena. And arithmetic is the principle behind it. Nature is inherently eight-dimensional, 4 planes of symmetry, shown in a star tetrahedron or the corners of a cube, and then cascading up and down. We arrive at our deepest center by arriving at nowhere, now here. Equilibrium, which is scalar motion at light speed in a universe of motion. Scalar motion, motion with no direction, or also with every direction, shown in the progression of the natural reference system, occurs from all points, an outward motion at the speed of light. This progression is inherently self-centered, which is the core of the star tetra cube, where all points can be the center of the multiverse, while none of them are the circumference, until we choose a reference point. Upon arriving at the center, when one is the truth, now here, one also naturally knows the truth, too. When we merge with the higher self at our deepest center, then there is absolute certainty, as we tap the Akashic records and determine that what is at our center is what is at the center of everything. So we have a built-in line of communication with everything, a unification of all, past and present, to tap into absolute certainty. You are everything, and everything is you. Deep down at our center, we're all the same, divine. All persons are parts of one being. Higher self-identity is unconditioned, balanced, at equilibrium, at equanimity, attention. Body, mind, spirit in alignment. Stay in our navel center. We feel the consciousness of being conscious. I am absolute certainty, singularity. Okay, that is the 8th fractal of the first sphere. Number 123, absolute certainty. And a lot of that's talking about the progression of the natural reference system, which comes from the Dewey B. Larson reciprocal system of theory, and then further refined by Dr. Bruce Perret, Dr. KVK Nehru. And also a lot of that stuff is coming, especially that about systems, is from synergetic geometry from Buckminster Fuller. We'll be talking about more of both of those subjects in detail coming up here in the near future. But for now, that's where we're at. Again, if you'd like to get a full listing or an abstract listing of the all 144 fractal faculties, just put your name and email in the comment section, and I'll send that out to you for free. You can also send me $10 by Venmo or Cash App listed in the description, and I'll send you my book called the MASSTree. And just send me the $10 and put that in the memo or whatever, that's what you want. You can also donate to me through that Cash App and Venmo. And other than that, just please stay tuned for future videos on this channel. Number 124 will be up for tomorrow, and working on all kinds of other stuff. It's going to be great eventually. And other than that, just have a great day, and we hope to see you soon.